I am going to discuss about the subject Network and Cyber Security, presenting by Manjunath Iyer, Assistant Professor, ECE Department, Canara Engineering College from Mangalore.
I'll be discussing about module 2. It's electronic mail security. So this video lecture I'm covering secure MIME certificate processing. So often I'll be covering enhanced security services. Okay, services provided by the secure MIME. Okay, technology. Welcome back to video lecture of module 2. So here today presentation I'll be discussing about secure MIME certificate processing. So how the certificate will be processed during communication of digital data. Secure MIME uses X.509 version 3 certificates. X.509 version 3, it's a type of certificate is received by certificate authority, certification authority. The name of the certificate is X.509 version 3 is used by Secure MIME. So it is managed by using a hybrid of a strict X.509 certificate authority hierarchy and PGP web of trust. So it's like a hybrid this thing, including both X.509 certificate authority hierarchy and as well as PGP web of trust. Each client has a list of trusted certificate authorities, CAS certificates, certificate authorities, certificates. I mean, each user or a client, either is a sender or receiver. So he is going to maintain a list of certificates received by the CAs, certificate authorities. So and also is having each client or user is having pair of public key and private key, so key pairs, and along with the private and public keys also he use is having certificates. Certificates must be signed by trusted certificate authorities. The certificate authorities is like who is going to give the certificate to the users. It's nothing but certificate authority. So he is having that rights to verify the users and he issue the certificates to the client or a user. So it must be signed by a certificate authorities. Let's say for example, being a VTU student, we are receiving a certificate like mass card from the university, right? VTU University, which is located in Belagavi or Belagavi. So who is the certificate authority? So VTU is a certificate authority. So it is having the rights to issue the certificate to the student. Okay, so similar way. So client is going to receive the certificate from the certificate authority. So he will verify and he will issue the certificate to the client. Secure MIME key management functions. So how the key will be managed by Secure MIME. So it is done by user agent role. So in order to complete this, he is going to take help of agent. Is nothing but user agent. So in order to manage the key, so what are the roles are done by the user agent? So let's see one by one. So here user agent is nothing but the person who is going to manage the LAN in the organization. So I think the LAN management are one associated with many or entire network or institution comprises of several set of LAN connection, and one who is responsible for handling one set of LAN management is considered as administration utility, okay, or a user agent. In this case, he must be capable of doing several activities. The first one is the key generation. So user agent, what exactly he will do is activity under key generation is the user of some related administrative utility. So administrative utility is nothing but the person who is going to take okay, or see to the organization. So is administrative to the organization okay, network. So administrative that is nothing but administrative or administration the person who is going to administrate the network is nothing but administrative utility. Must be capable of generating separate Diffie-Hellman and DSS key pairs, and should be capable of generating RSA key pairs. So administrative utility person is able to do all these activities with many algorithms, okay, Diffie-Hellman and digital signature standard and the key pairs, okay, and also it should be capable of generating RSA key pairs, private key and public key. Each key pair must be generated from the good source of non-deterministic random inputs and be protected in the secure fashion. So keys are generated, but the keys we need to maintain in a so confidential way, in a confidential manner. So if it is private key, we should not share with others, and the public key we need to share with the others to whom we can trust. So those keys, like generated by non-deterministic, okay, random, okay, keys are a random input. So we are not using a similar kind of keys. So it is generated by non-deterministic random. Okay, randomly it is generated, and okay, most of the times it should be non-deterministic. It should not okay, be capable of determined by unauthorized person. A user agent, okay, so is a the administrative utility person should generate RSA key pairs with a length, okay, so length in the range of 768 to 1024 bits, and must not generate a length of less than 512 bits. So it's some okay, credentials or the points that we need to note down before we generate a key. Okay, key here is here. So any kind of key, whether it is a private key, public key, or any secret key. So all the keys are like the bit streams. They are all bit streams. So here when we are generating a keys, then we need to take care of length of the bits. So the length of the keys should be in the range of 768 to 1024 bits, and it should not less than 512 bits. Okay. If any keys is having a length of bits less than 512 bits, so we cannot consider as that key as a that bit as a bit stream as a key. So there is some credentials we need to look over. So during the time of key generation will be generated by administrative utility or the administrative person. So who is looking after the entire LAN connection. So within an organization or institution. Okay. So also user agent will play his role as for registration. So what we should register here, a user public key must be registered with a certification authority in order to receive an X.509 public key certificate. Okay, so also user agent will play his role like he should done with the registration of the key for certificate in order to receive the X.509. public key certificate. So also it will play his role for certificate storage and retrieval. So we are issuing that certificate, okay, X.50 in public key certificate, okay, and we need to store that certificate, and we are able to retrieve it whenever we want to use that certificate in future. So here what exactly will do under certificate storage and retrieval. A user requires access to a local list of certificates in order to verify incoming signature and to encrypt outgoing message. So like the client is going to manage or is having the set of the list of certificates of his own, and the sender or a receiver, the other client, and during when you want to send a message, so client will become server, sender. A sender will use that certificate during sending a message, and when he is receiving a message from sender, so he will act as a receiver. So you need to verify the sender certificate, okay, so before receiving the message from the sender, okay. So for the sending a message and receiving a message is nothing but for outgoing and incoming messages. So you need to use that certificate from the storage place. So such a list could be maintained by the user of Visual or by some local administrative entity on behalf of number of users. So administrator is going to administrate number of n users, and the user agent will do all these activities on behalf of number of users. Okay. So this is all about this slide here. So we need to complete the registration of certificate with the public key in order to receive the X.509, and that certificate we need to store in some place, along with his own certificate, and he is going to maintain a list of certificate, and he is able to use that certificate while sending a message and receiving a message. We'll move on to the next topic, certificate authorities. So few companies have the authorities to issue the certificate to the clients. Okay, we'll call them certificate authorities. So which means they have the authorities to issue the certificate to the client after verification of the client is over. So we have such many or multiple companies will act as certificate authorities. Okay, they are all well known CAs. So VeriSign is one of the most widely used certificate, or the companies which we called as VeriSign. So it is going to issue the certificate to the client. So it's mostly widely used in in a network for communication. So VeriSign issues the several types of digital IDs. Certificate is nothing but certificate CA is going to give some digital IDs where the ID is comprises of several data of a client. So say for example we have a ID, say for example Aadhaar code. So we are issuing Aadhaar code from the government, and we are using that ID code to represent ourselves, where it's having several informations like what is the name and address and cell phone number and all. So all these details we are using for other with the Aadhaar card, right? Similar way. So we can relate here. So CA is going to issue the certificate to the client in order to identify the client with some information. Digital ID is having some informations related to the users. So it increases the levels of checks and hence the trust. Okay, so we are using our IDs for okay, several verification purpose, right? So here also for this digital IDs we are using for okay several purpose in order to checks the verification, and in order to check the details of the client, of the sender or receiver, and hence okay, so after verification is okay over, and since we have the details of the client, so we can trust that client for communication. Okay, so we can treat that client as a sender or a receiver in a communication. Now let us see the digital ID contains, okay, or the contents of digital ID. Okay, so it's what type, okay, I mean, what type of the informations is given by the digital ID in order to represent the okay client, okay, clients or users. So this digital ID or the certificate is issued by the certificate authorities, and it gives the information about the okay clients. So what is that details? So it gives the details about the owner's public key. Okay. So public key information is given in the form of digital format, and owner's name or okay any alias names are there. So it is going to represent the alias name of the owner or okay the absolute name of the okay owner. Expiration date of the digital ID. So as each document is having the lifetime, digital ID is also having the lifetime. So within that lifetime is over, need to be okay renewal it. Okay, digital ID is need to be renewal. So that expiration date of the digital ID is also mentioned, and serial number of the digital ID is also mentioned. Name of the certification authorities that issued the digital ID, I mean the name of the companies okay, who have given that okay, digital ID or certificate, yeah, from whom okay, that certificate is issued. Okay, so the name of the certificate authority, and also information is about the digital signature of the certification authority that issued the digital ID. The company who is going to issue the certificate, so that company digital signature is also need to be provided. So also the other key informations is comprised in digital ID is the address, okay, and the email address of the okay, client or owner. The basic registration informations like okay country, from which country is, zip code, and what is the age of the owner, and okay what is the gender, male or female. So all these informations are provided in digital ID or in the certificate. So now let me talk about VeriSign public key certificate classes. VeriSign public key certificate classes have three different classes: class 1, class 2 and class 3. So in the class 1, services provided by the okay, VeriSign public key class 1. So whatever the services are provided by the class 1, the same class 2 services also okay, going to provide the same services plus okay, extra services we can expect from the class 2. And okay, next class 3 is okay, the services provided by class 1, class 2 plus the extra services will be added in class 3. Okay, so in the class 3 is like high level verification of public key certificate. So subscriptions or authentications will be done more okay, verification in the layer of class 3. So whereas in class 1, class 2 is also verification or security is more, but compared to the class 3 layer security, so it is less. So class 1, for example, let's say when we are we are using some web browsing or a certain email usage. So when we want to do, let's say for example, when we are registering for something, we will get some OTP, right? So those kinds of verification. So they will send a OTP for the respective user, and the same OTP will be need to be entered while the registration need to be complete. So in the class 3, as I said, more verification is needed. Say for example, when we are doing some for registration or e-banking or database access or personal banking membership or online membership, membership, and like integrity services, e-commerce servers. So for high level security, sometimes we need to enter some CAPTCHA, like mathematical operations of two numbers, or we need to select the images, saying that select the images of having traffic signal or cars, so like that. Among many images are given, we need to select images to the according to the questions they are asking. So that we need to do it by manual. We need manual intervention. Okay. So where some for other domains or registrations, we can do it without. I mean, we can enter some fields without manual interventions by using some machines or some robots. We can just enter the required fields and we can complete the registration. So, but some for high level security, we need to go for manual interventions. Without using manual interventions, we cannot complete our registration. Okay, that we can use for high level security. So that is how the class 1 is like the first level of security purpose, and class 3 is is also for security purpose, but verification will be done in high level. Okay. So summary of confirmation of identity for a class 1. So amounted unnamed bogus name and email address search. Okay, the bogus or unnamed what to say, unnamed and email address search. And class 2 same as a class 1 service, plus automated enrollment information check and automated address check. That's what, as I told you, when we need to enroll, we need to, sometimes if we don't have any manual intervention for enrollment, so by using a machines, we can keep on enroll, just by entering some fields, giving some, bogus names and all. But if we have to set the fields entry where supposed to, manual interventions should be there, so that we can avoid bogus entries to the field. Bogus entries to the field. So same as class 1 plus personal presence. Coming to the class 3, same as class 1 plus personal presence and ID document. It's a plus class 2 automated ID check for individuals, business records or filling or organization. Same similarly for IA private key protections for class 1, class 2, class 3 is PCA trustworthy hardware, and certificate authority is trustworthy software or trustworthy hardware. Class 2 for IA private key protection, PCA and CA trustworthy hardware. So for class 3, PCA and CA trustworthy hardware. Okay, so you can just try to make a difference between class 2 and class 2, class 3. So now certificate applicant and subscriber private key production is under class 1. Encryption software by using pin protected and recommended but not required. So it is just a recommended. It's not essential things that we can have to follow it. It's just recommended. For class 2 is encrypted software. Okay, for pin it is a pin protected required. See the class 3 services, the security is more than class 1, class 2. Encryption software been protected and required is hardware taken, commanded but not required. Okay. Application implement or contemplated by users. So class 1 is web browsing and certain email usage. So class 2 is individual and intra and inter-company email, online subscriptions, password replacements and software validation. Class 3 is e-banking, corporation database access, personal banking, membership based online services, content integrity services and e-commerce server, etc. Strong encryptions for certain servers are needed and it is done by class 3, Verizon public key. So this table is going to demonstrate the class 1 different classes of Verizon public key certificate. SecureMime enhanced security services. There are 3 proposed enhanced security services. First one is signed receipts. Okay, second one security labels. Third one security mail lists. Okay. So these are all the main 3 services enhanced by SecureMime. So then let us discuss in detail about these 3 services. So let me talk about the first service of SecureMime, that is signed receipts. A signed receipt may be requested in a signed data object. So let me give an example over here. So we'll go to the bank, and if you try to do the transaction offline, we have to write this. Okay, or we have to write the slip, right, for a transaction. So we need to write some fields like from who is a depositor and to whom we are going to credit the amount. So account transaction of the receiver and as well as the sender too. So we have to fill the entries for both the copies. One is for like for a customer copy and as well as the for bank official usage. So after we have filled the slip, we need to put the signature in both the side, customer copy and as well as the for a bank usage copy. And the person from the bank, he will verify the account details of sender and the receiver, and he will put the signature and as along with the seal, along with the seal. So he will keep the copy of bank receipt to copy, and will return the customer copy to the depositor. So later, if we find any transaction has not successed or it is failed, then we can claim the transaction details or failure. We can ask the bank person to ask about the status by giving the or by showing the customer copy. Okay, so this is what I have done the last 1 or 2 days back, and account has not has been not transferred to the recipient account number. Okay, so what is the proof will show to the bank person. So what is the receipt we have received from the bank person after he has signed and the seal. Okay, so the customer copy will be having the seal and sign of the bank. So that is what we are using for authenticating, or that is one the proof we can show that, right? The same similar. So before we are sending a data, so we need to signer need to sign the data and the object. So the returning a signed receipt provided proof of delivering to the originator of a message and allows the originator to demonstrate to a third party that the recipient received the message. So in essence, the recipient signs the entire original message plus the original sender's signature and appends the new signature to form a new secure MIME message. So here it is very simple. The sender, before he is going to send a message, is he need to put his signature. Okay, and so for a confirmation also he is expecting to send a receipt from the receiver. So while the receiver is sending his acknowledgement, sending a receipt to the sender or a message originator, so he need to put his signature along with the sender's signature. So other security service of the secure MIME is security labels. Security label may be included as authenticated attributes of a signed data object. For a signed data object or data packet, we are adding this security label as a authenticated attributes. A security label is a set of security information regarding the sensitivity of the content that is protected by secure MIME encapsulation. So here, so security label, it is going to provide the information regarding the sensitivity of the content, sensitivity of the message, and that is protected by secure MIME encapsulation. At the sender it is encapsulated, at the receiver that the sensitivity of the content will be de-encapsulated. The label may be used for access control by indicating which users are permitted to access to an object. Say for example, healthcare sector or healthcare hospital, the employees, they are working in a different domain or in a different stream. Say for example, one can work in as a receptionist, and another can work as a in a billing counter, and so like there are different domains are there in the health sector to work. Say for example, if they want to see the details of the patient, they have some restriction over the access of data of the patient. Say for example, the person who is working in a billing counter, he can see the type of the medicine and cost of the medicine, so the treated to the patient. And person who is working working as a receptionist, he can just view the personal details of the patient. And the other data, he is not having the rights or access, is not having rights to access the complete details of the patient, only the part of the data of the patient, part of the data of patient. So access control, that's how we can control the access over data. So other uses include priority, like secret, confidential, restricted, and so on, and role based. describing which kind of people can see the information. For example, patients, okay, details in the healthcare team, medical billing agents, and so on. Okay, so the people who are working in that particular domain, they are able to see the data related to the same domain, not in other, okay, data details. So in order to control the access, these security labels will help them. Okay, it's going to help them. The last and the third security by the secure mind is the security mailing lists. Let's see in detail. When a user sends a message to multiple recipients, okay, I mean the sender is a single sender and the recipient is more than more than one recipient. A certain amount of per recipient processing is required, including the use of each recipient public key. Okay. The same message is going to send to the multiple recipient, and at the other side the recipient, so before we are sending, we need to process the data, or we need to add the security by using public key of each recipient. The user can be relieved of this work by employing the services of a secure mind mail list agent. Suppose this job is done by the point that I mentioned in the point number 1. If the whole work is done by the sender, so it feels sender is overloaded. Okay. So this job is given to the agent. So that agent name is mail list agent. So he will take care of sending a message with what to say, adding a security for each recipient by using his public key. Okay, so that job is done by mail list agent, not done by the actual sender. An MLA can take a single incoming message, perform the recipient specific encryption for each recipient, and forward the message. That's what. Okay. So sender, if we want to do the encryption for each message for each recipient, so it is a time consumable task. Okay, sender, what he is going to do? So he is going to just escape from this job. He will surrender, or he will give this work or workload to the mail listing agent. The mail list agent will take care about everything. So he will take the public key of each recipient, and he will perform the encryptions, and then after encryption is over, he will release the data to the all the recipients. Okay, he will forward the message to the all the recipients. So the originator or the sender of a message need only send the message to the MLA with encryption performed using the MLA public key. That's what. So here the originator or a sender job is just he need to send a message to the MLA, and MLA will encrypt he will perform the encryptions, and after encryption performation of encryption is over, by using a public key of each recipient, he will send a message. So this is how we can achieve, or how the secure mind can provide the security, but through secure mailing lists. So thank you. So the next class will discuss about the different topic.